A lot of people think Amazon KDP is going to make you a lot of money in your first 30 days, but that's just not the case. The problem isn't that KDP no longer works. The problem is people come into it with terrible expectations and then they quit when the business starts acting like a real business. So in this video, I'm going to show you what a first year with Amazon KDP looks like, what you should be doing in every phase, and how to know if you're actually on track. Let's go. Hey everybody, my name's Mecca, and my goal here on this YouTube channel for the Publishing Academy is to give you the absolute best free content you possibly can in the Amazon self-publishing space so that it makes you money. And one day you can work with me so I can help you scale to $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month like a lot of our students have inside the Academy. So having said that, let's dive into today's video. All right, I've been publishing for 10 years now, and I've seen a lot of first years with the number of students that I've worked with over the last decade. I want to break down and show you so you can come into this business with the right expectations of what your first year with KDP is actually going to look like. I'm going to break it down in different phases, and they're going to be chunked into each month. So for example, phase 1 is going to talk about month 0 to 2. In order to give you a bit more context, each month we're estimating that you're publishing 1 book a month or 1 book every 2 months in order for this to actually make sense. Because if you're publishing 1 book every 6 months, well, your first year with KDP is going to look drastically different versus if you're publishing 5 books a month. Well, I don't know what you're doing. You should not be doing that. So having said that, let's get into it. So the very first mistake beginners make is they think that they're coming in and they're going to start making some money before they built any real skills for themselves. Remember, in order to make money, you have to have something that is a skill that allows you to make money. And your first little bit with Amazon KDP is all about building up your skills. And if you're brand new to the space, that means you're starting at 0 skill level, right? It's like you're starting a role-playing fantasy game for the first time and you're at 0. We got to get some experience points here. So your first phase from month 0 to 2, it's not about making money. It's about developing skills. And if you go in with this mindset, you're going to be golden, because what you're doing is you're learning, how does Amazon KDP work? Like, how does this whole process work? How does the research process work? How do you find profitable topics? What is a profitable topic? What's too much competition? What's not enough competition? It's understanding all of these things. This is not something that takes a couple days or a couple weeks to figure out. It usually takes 1 or 2 months and 1 or 2 books to understand how all of this works, right? How to package the book, how to present the book, how the platform actually behaves, how the ads work, and also how to think like a publisher. Remember, you're not an author, right? Some of you are, and that's okay, but most of you are not authors. And even if you are an author, you should stop thinking like an author and you should think like a publisher, because publishers make more money. And you have to wrap your head around that mindset, because when you do that, you're looking at every parts of the business differently. And it's learning all of these parts over the next couple months, over your first few months, over your first few books. And as you learn them, you're going to get better at them, and your skill level is going to increase. Most people are chasing income before they chase new skills, and you just can't win that way. The reality is, with your first couple months, your books are going to take longer than you expect. You're going to make more mistakes than you realize, and you will overthink almost every single thing that you do. And you know what? That's 100% okay. I did it. You're going to do it. Every single person who started exactly where you are goes through this process. But the sooner you can wrap your head around that, the sooner you can accept that and then keep moving forward and move on to phase 2. Now, before phase 2, if you are brand new and you are publishing your first 1 or 2 books and you do want some free guidance on exactly how to do it step by step, I've created something called the 3-day Publish and Profit Challenge, where I do just that for free. I'll show you how to find a topic, how to write a book, how to publish the book, and how to make your first dollar, your first sale on Amazon 100% free. I personally guide you through every single step of the way. So if that's something that you want to get started on right now, just to kind of speed up this process, there's a link in the description or the pinned comment of this video. Go ahead and click it, sign up, and you'll get access to it. You'll also get a couple bonuses as well. So go ahead, click that, and then let's keep going with this video. So phase 2 is months 2 to 4, right? So at this point, you got your first couple books published. Awesome. So we got our first couple books published, but now we're asking the question, why aren't my books selling? This is where people realize that KDP is not just passive income, right? They've published their books and they're like, I'm not making 10 grand a month yet. Why? Well, because that's not how it works, right? You've published your book, which is the easiest part of the entire process, right? Making your book sell is where the work comes in. That's where the challenge is. Now that your book's published, it's a whole new skill set that we have to develop. So we've developed our first skill set to write and publish the book, but now the book's published. So now we have to develop skill sets in how to market the book and how to make the book profitable. So let's talk about this. At this point of the game, the main things I want you to focus on this. There's two things. It's one, it's getting your book to sell. So putting all your time and energy into how can I get the book I just published to sell? And we're going to talk about that in a second. The second thing you focus on is publishing the next book. That's it. Everything else is white noise. So it's how do I make this book sell that I just published? And then what book am I publishing next? Those are the most important things you have to be focused on. And you must do this at the exact same time because, I can't tell you which one's more important than another. Is it getting your current book selling that you've put all this work into? Or is it just publishing another book? They're both equally important. So they both have to be done. So let's focus on the book that you just published, right? Or the couple books that you might have just published, right? So it's figuring out, how was my launch strategy? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it average? What worked? What didn't work? What can I do better next time? How am I getting reviews? What resources am I using to get reviews? Am I using the Facebook method? Am I using Done For You KDP reviews? Am I using one of the other services? What way am I getting my reviews for my book? And then it's running ads. How does the Amazon ad work? This is a whole different level of skill set that you need to develop just for figuring out and running Amazon ads. And then once you run Amazon ads, the beauty of that is it gives you a whole bunch of data that you're able to start looking at. You're able to see exactly, hey, do customers actually like my cover, right? So what's the click-through rate on that? What does Amazon actually think of my book? Ads will tell you that. And then you start dissecting all of the things that you did in order to publish that book, and you start looking at them in a completely different light. This is not the phase where you are going to judge the business. This is the phase where you start collecting data. Most people, they kind of misread this part of the business. They've been in it for 2 to 4 months and they wonder why they're not making all this money yet because you don't deserve it yet. You haven't developed the skill level that allows you to create that income yet. We're still developing those things. But now you're getting feedback from the business and you take this feedback and you're able to apply it to your current books, but more importantly, to your next books. And those books become even better and start compounding down the road. Because remember, your first few books usually don't explode. You might publish 4 books and they might do okay, but then everything that you've learned from publishing those 4 books, you might publish that 5th book. That 5th book might make 5 or 10 times the amount that your first 4 books made combined. That happens time and time again in this business. I cannot stress that enough. So that's why you never got to get hung up on how bad 1, 2, or 3 books did, because it doesn't matter. As long as you learned something from those first initial books, you're going to keep improving and you're going to get this figured out. Results at this point of the game are usually very inconsistent. So sales up and down, but you're only making like 2 sales one day and then like 3 days later, or for the next 2 or 3 days, nothing. And then you'll make 2 more sales. And you're like, why is this so inconsistent? That's okay. That's all part of the game right now. What you have to do is you got to just keep learning, keep doing all the things that you were doing up until this phase and just keep moving forward. Because in phase 3, months 4 to 6 is where things really start getting interesting. So by this point in the business, now you have some things figured out and now the business is really teaching you. See, now you know how things are responding. You know which topics are getting traction. You know what style of cover is converting best for your customer. You know which books are worth improving, which topics you want to double down on, and which books you should just leave alone and focus on new ones. All of that stuff is starting to happen now that you've been around for a few months and you've published, at this point, anywhere from 4 to 6 books or so. But remember, you are still paying the ever so important learning tax even in this phase, right? You probably have books that you've published that have made zero money so far. And that's okay as long as you're learning, why didn't these books sell? What was the cause for them not selling? Was it my keyword? Was it my title? Was it my cover? Those are usually the three things. And usually it's number one, it's the topic or the keyword, right? You might be losing money on ads right now. And once again, that's okay. Don't be losing like a ton of money. Like, don't lose so much money you're going to be out on the street type of thing, right? Control your losses. But running ads at a small loss in order to learn how ads work is okay. A lot of people do it. Some people are able to run ads profitable from day one as well. And that just might be they might have a higher skill set around ads or understand them a little bit better than you do. And that's okay, right? Different people, different results. But don't get so beat up on running ads. I guess at this point, I will give you a cheat code for running ads and controlling your losses. I don't talk about a lot of different softwares on the channel just because I don't think you need to spend money on software until you're like 6 to 10 grand in sales a month. The only thing you should be using to run your business is Kip Scout for keyword research, and it's free. Everything else is just, you do not need. There is one tool that I think makes the biggest difference once you're running ads, and that's a tool called Publisher Champ. And what it does is it allows you to see in real time how your Amazon account's doing in terms of KDP compared to your ads data, because Amazon doesn't show you that together and Publisher Champ does. So we'll put a link for Publisher Champ. I think it's like 11 bucks or something, but we'll put a link there for it, because if you're running ads and you're not using Publisher Champ, 100% you're losing money. 100%. Like, it's not even, it's a no-brainer. You're losing money. So I digress. At this point, you're also going to realize that some of the topics that you chose for some of your books were not very good topics either. And you'll look back and be like, man, why did I publish that book? That was a horrible topic. That's okay. That happens. But you're also going to notice how much faster and easier it is to publish new books, because your skill set is so much better than it was like 4 or 6 months ago. And that is so key, because this is where compounding really starts to take place. Phase 4 is months 9 to 12. So now you've been around for almost a year, or pretty much a year. And this is where the magic really starts to happen. At this point, it's no longer just publishing books. It's really starting to develop systems for yourself so you can publish more books at scale. That means you probably have your research process dialed in. You probably have your formatting, your cover creation, your book creation process in general dialed in, working the way that you want it. Your book launch process, you probably have that dialed in. You know exactly how you're getting your reviews, how many to expect, over what timeline. All of these things are finally now starting to get dialed in because you've done them so many times over the last year. And ads are starting to make more sense, right? And ads also start to get easier when you produce better books. The reason your ads were struggling in the beginning was because your books probably sucked in the beginning. And so your ads are not going to be very good on books that are sucking. But books that don't suck, ads are way more profitable. They're a lot easier to learn. They're a lot easier to run and control when you're promoting a really, really, really good book. And this is where KDP really stops feeling like a thing of a whole bunch of random results, and it feels more dialed in like a real business. So this is where refine what's working. We publish more strategically. You know, we're taking our profits, we're reinvesting them into the business to further scale the business. We're not taking them out. We're not doing any trips or any crazy things like that yet. Let's keep reinvesting into the business. That is so key. Don't blow the money you're making. Reinvest it into the business so you can keep scaling the business. You're improving older books, perhaps, because now you've learned more, and you might see some things on your first few books. You're like, hey, if I actually invest in a better cover, I might be able to get this book to sell. I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And that old book that I thought was dead started selling better just because I've improved my skill set that I just didn't have back then. And I was able to get that book going. And this is also the time where you're going to start having your first $10,000 month. And that's super, super key. But remember, most people don't fail because KDP failed them. Most people fail because their expectations were just not realistic, right? So if you're somebody who's like, you're just looking to make really, really quick cash right away, it's not a great business model for you. If you are going to judge the business too early, don't judge it until you've published 5 books and you've spent a year in the business. It's too early to judge it, because if you're judging it a month or 2 months into the business, 1 or 2 books into the business, you don't have enough experience to know what you're even judging. So that's just naive. So you can't do that. You have to give yourself an actual chance to succeed, you know, and that ties in with quitting after 1 or 2 books. Like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. You don't quit after 1 or 2 books. You put so much work into those 1 or 2 books. Keep going. Quit after 5 books. Like after 5 books, if you're not making some decent money, if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not seeing some good improvements, yeah, maybe the business model's not for you and you could go do something else. Like that's totally okay. But the amount of students and people I've seen who have published 5 books and they're like actively learning and trying to do well, they don't quit because they see, they're like, oh yeah, this is actually starting to all come together now. It's like, yeah, that happened on like book 4 or 5, right? Like I did not see any success until book 4, 0 success in book 4. Book 1, 2, and 3, they were all garbage. I got scammed at some point as well with a bad writer during that time as well. And they made like 0 money over the, I think 4 or 5 months. And then book 4, I made like $600 in like a week and a half, book 4. And that was with ebook only, not even a paperback. Like it was insane. So I made more from that one book than my first 3 books combined. And that happens so often, you just can't quit. Could you imagine what would have happened if I quit after book 3? Oh my God, that would have been horrible. So just don't give up too soon. A couple other mistakes that I have written down here is like you're switching out of niches too soon, or you're publishing without confirming it's a profitable topic. We're not going to cover that in this video. I've done tons of video on profitable topics before, so you can go check those out. But you have to be publishing books on profitable topics, 100%. The other mistake is you treat it like a hobby. This business is not a hobby. This is a business. If you treat it like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. But if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And I don't know a lot of hobbies that pay you very well. Now, what does a good first year actually look like? A good first year looks like progress, not perfection. And that's key. You don't have to be perfect in your first 12 months. You just have to keep moving forward. As long as you're moving forward, you're going to win in this business. You're understanding the platform better. You've published multiple books. You've got better every single book. You're learning what makes a good topic and what makes a bad topic. You're learning how to run ads at a profit. You're learning how to read the data that you're getting from your ads in order to keep improving your books. And at this point, you probably have 1, 2, or 3 books that are really starting to show some real promise. And that's not going to be every single book in your catalog. It's only going to be 10 to 20% of the books that you've published that are probably going to be making like 80 to 90% of your income. And that's okay. That's kind of what you want. A good first year isn't just about how much money you've made in total. It's about how much progress you've made over the last year, because that second year, don't be surprised if you make not just double, triple, but like 5 or 10 times as much money you did your first year. But your first year is all about working and building the skills that you need in order to make that crazy amount of money. The best example of this is a student that I had, God, back in 2017 or 2018, Suraj. 18 months it took him to make his first book. 18 months of not making money, of just writing his book. 18 months. And that book sucked and it made no money, but he didn't quit. But now he does anywhere between $60,000 to $100,000 a month with KDP. But his first 18 months, he made 0 money. He developed the skill set that allowed him to make crazy amounts of money later on. You can even say. So the main takeaway here is KDP your first year is not about getting rich. It's about developing the skills that you'll need in order to get rich in the future. And if you're at the very, very beginning of this process and you're trying to figure out exactly how to get going, go ahead, check out the next video. It's how to make your first $1,000 on KDP. You can go watch that right now. Till next time, everybody, I'm Emeka. Peace. Hey, real quick, if you want to publish a book on Amazon and make money from it, I got this for you. I'm running a free 3-day publish and profit challenge. By the end of it, you'll have a book published on Amazon and making your first sales. I've been publishing for over 9 years. I've published hundreds of books, helped thousands of people do the same. If you don't know where to start, or you can't find a profitable topic, or you just don't want to waste time or money, this is for you. Day 1 is finding your topic, creating a book title, getting your cover locked in. Day 2, it's all about building your book. It's doing the research, creating the outline, and writing your entire book. And then day 3, polishing your book, publishing it on Amazon, and showing you how to generate your first sales. And this is free. I'm showing you the exact way to build this business without having to hide it behind a paid course. You're also going to get my free support group, and you're going to get the custom GPT that I built specifically to help you with this challenge. Just click the link in the description or go to publishingacademy.com/challenge. You'll get an email. It'll be the link to get into the SKOOL group. In the classroom section, everything's laid out. Go do it now.